I started tying flies, I'm almost embarrassed to say, 59 years ago. And the very first fly I tied is also one of the simplest, and still, after 60 years or more, one of the most effective. The components are pretty simple. I like to use a gold short shank hook. These salmon egg type hooks work really, really well. This one has a turned up eye, as most hooks do, that are for eggs, but here's what you do. I've got a bobbin with some black thread on it. Just make a little body like you would with any fly. And I'm assuming you're not a fly tyer. And hopefully this weekend my grandkids will be up here and I'm going to teach them how to make this fly too. It's called a black gnat, but really I think it is absolutely the best imitation of one of the most abundant and protein-rich food sources that panfish have available to them in the spring. And that would be those little teeny midget tadpoles. Now, for some reason, over the years, we found that, and I don't know, I haven't tested it conclusively, but rather than having a black little tag out the back, just convention has always had a little red tag or tail. And it's best to make it out of marabou. And this is marabou, strung marabou. It's the only way to buy it. What this actually is the neck feathers from a turkey that have been dyed red. Anyhow, I cut a little tiny bit of it, and it's sort of puffy, but it doesn't matter because it all lays down really nice. There you go. Just trim it off a little bit. And then just lay it over the hook, shank, very easy. A couple of wraps. I always throw a half hitch. My dad taught me always to put a lot of half hitches in. And if you're gonna tie a fly, you may as well tie it in glue. My favorite glue I make myself, what this is a mixture of shoe goop, which is, if you've used it, you know it's just tougher than tough, but it's thick. So you mix shoe goop with a little bit of toluene, and you can make it as thick or as thin as you want. What's cool about it is you can make it really thin, it'll absorb, but it leaves this super elastic, super tough skin. Plus it dries super fast. It's just way better than nail polish or typical head cement in my view for this application. And I'm just dabbing this here on the body just to toughen her up. And it dries like super fast. The other ingredient is something called chenille, which comes in different sizes. Thin, thick, medium. I believe this is like medium chenille. And what chenille really is just a couple of threads that have little stuff kind of stuffed in between the threads laterally. And so when you wrap it on a hook, this little kind of hairy stuff sticks up. Anyway, here's what you do. You just take that little bit of chenille. If I peel this back a little bit, you'd see they're just, look really close right there. I just peeled some of the fuzz off, and you'll see two little tiny, tiny threads that chenille is built with. Anyway, take those two tiny threads, and I'm doing that just to keep it from getting too bulky. And just fasten them like this a couple of times. Wrap your thread to the front of the hook. What I'm doing here is tying a half hitch, just a little bit of a hitch. If you tie two of them back to back, it tightens and it locks it in place. Okay, once you've done that, just take a chenille. Wrap it around the hook like that. And then with your bobbin, just pop it right around like so. A couple of wraps, a couple more half hitches, or you could use a whip finish, but I won't even bother trying to explain that. Trim this little booger. A little tiny drop of toluene mixed with shoe goo. I'll just put that right there. Tweak. Tiniest little bit. That's all it takes. And there's a little tiny thing in this marabou. If it gets wet, you'll see that it gets really skinny. And the profile of this is not dissimilar to those little teeny weeny tadpoles. Now I could also put a little wrap of lead on this. I can make it bigger. I think I'll make one bigger one, and just for the heck of it, I'm going to put a little rubber tail on the back. So instead of this size 10, and I recommend 8 or 10 for sunfish, I'm going to try this size 6, which will also make it sink just a little bit more. These have a little tiny barb on them, which I usually just kind of, it's so tiny it doesn't matter much, but just pinch that down so it doesn't get in the way. And these hooks are, if you look, you'll see that the point is tipped this way so it's not parallel with the shank, and what that's for, so it sort of turns and it'll improve your hooking. And actually it doesn't make any difference at all as far as the way the fly works, so rather than straighten it, I just leave it like it is. The hooks are soft enough, if I wanted to, I can go like so and it'll straighten. Some of the more technical fly specific hooks, if you try to bend them or straighten them, the shanks are made of such a brittle steel that they just break off. Anyhow, do this exactly the same process. A couple of half inches. I'm going to take some round rubber. I'm just going to make one little tail sticking out the back, which I really don't like the way that looks, but I'm going to try it anyway. I think it'd be better off to use something a little more flexible, but I don't think they're going to care. I think one of these days I'll make one of these that actually wiggles just to see if it matters. If I don't get this straight, it probably has enough keel effect that it'll cause the fly to rotate. So I'm already against this rubber version. And I'm out, I hate to say, I'm out of black marabou. Tying too many marabou leeches back about 1 million years ago. All right, I'll just take this east. If you want to make the body a little bulkier, you can actually just double it, go up and back, or you can get a slightly larger size chenille. Clip him right there. Wonder which one they're going to bite. I think they'll bite both of them. I'm just pulling up on a place where these sunfish ought to be spawning, and the water temperature's like in the low 70s. And they're not up bedding yet. I can see them suspended out here, which is not ideal. But I think if I move up onto this shelf and just get up on my cooler, I should be able to find a few that are in early, but man, they are just stacked out here in the outside of the basin. What do you think, Moj? Yeah, he really took it deep. I think I should use the larger fly because he is really... And what's interesting about the little black gnat, what do you think, Moj? You like that one? What's interesting about a gnat, the most effective retrieve is just a straight, steady pull. Very similar to the way those little tadpoles swim. Oftentimes with a fly, the most effective thing is to sort of start accelerating it so it acts like an insect trying to hatch. So you yo-yo it up and down.